Kim Kardashian. Sit your bulbous ass down and let's watch this YouTube clip together. Now, for those of you that know Kim Kardashian, what do you think of her? Like when I say Kim Kardashian, what are the first words that pop to mind for you, right? Sex tape, Kanye West, reality show, huge ass. What else is there? Horrible relationship past. Incredibly successful, right? Worth a lot of money. Got a family that clings off her. Now, in Characterology, her type is not spoken to very often. A lot of the new therapists who do core energetics don't like speaking to this thing because of, I don't know, rah-rah feminism, whatever. But it's a really important type to understand because underneath it all is a disconnection from their sexuality and who they are at the core, and they really don't trust themselves. So let's dive in to Kim Kardashian and give this Characterology a good motorboat and find out what's really going on. So who she is under Characterology is the hysterical female. And while that might sound, if you're familiar with the concept of hysteria, you might go, oh my God, John, hysteria, John. Oh my God, we left that back in the, whatever it was, the 50s and the 40s. So for those of you that aren't familiar with hysteria, horrible ways that women were treated to treat hysteria. Now, when I say hysteria in the context of Characterology or the hysteric distinction here, hysteric, it's its own beast. It's its own thing, right? And it's a very helpful diagnostic map to take a woman, it's only for women, who have got this, right? And one of the key traits here of a hysterical female is difficulties with sexual satisfaction, not being taken seriously, even though she's credentialed, right? Then the relationships that the hysteric has, she tends to overgive to the partner. And in that, because she's overgiving to the partner, there's resentment there that builds up. She is taken for granted. She's taken for granted. Her worth, her contribution to the relationship is not nurtured, it's not taken care of. Now, the physical properties of Kim that give this away are she's a little bit androgynous and more feminine. She's got a almost like a manly figure and hyper feminine, right? It's a little bit like sexual dimorphism, where there's a maturity in her image where you can just look at that's what I see. There's a maturity in her image, and she's very feminine and she appears quite manly. She's got the cheekbone. She's like if you put her side by side with a man who feels quite emasculated or hasn't embodied his phallicness, you know, she would look like more of a man, like energetically. She would just take control of the situation, right? And then when I compare her with Kanye, she's the one that holds the frame in the relationship, right? She's the one that has the balls and the ovaries. So if I look through her relationship past, like it's littered. It's littered with failure. And so we've got music producers, married filed for divorce at 2003. So there was blamed separation on physical and emotional abuse on his part. So if I read some of this out, she's a genius. Right? She creates drama and then also has something off the back of it. Right, with her sex tape, pushed her reality TV show. When she got married, she released a wedding fragrance. She is someone who is very intelligent business-wise. And in the context of the sex tape, So using sex as a weapon, right? So for the hysteric, there's a lot of push-pull in their relationships, right? And what can show up here is there's like a lot of gossiping, lots of like drama, and lots of triangles that get formed. And I'm assuming her family just love the triangles, right? Her sisters and her mum just get really deep into this triangulation of drama. And what also shows up here for orgasm, so a lot of characterology work is around the orgasm of the body. And here's a pro tip for you. So the more trauma that you have in your body, the harder it is to orgasm fully. You cannot surrender fully to an orgasm. So how that shows up is there can be shame, there can be rigidity, there can be your whole body is technically supposed to tremor when you orgasm, and the trauma stops that. Instinct injury stops that. You're not allowed to fully surrender into the orgasm, and that can include not making sound. That can include not being able to be present with your partner. There's a whole bunch of things that fly out from this. But with the hysteric female, what shows up here is to really, really, really drop into the orgasm requires letting go. And when orgasms are allowed, it can take a fucking long time and a lot of effort. Now, the thing with hysterical females is that they're stunning. They're beautiful. They emanate this sexuality that's potent, right? And if you look at Kim, she's got all of that. I need to stop saying like. She's got all of that, right? And what might suck for her is that she's not able to really be fully free. She's not able to be all of who she wants to be. And what you can see here in Kim is there's a split between like the mature part of her and the immature part of her, right? So she's a little bit girlish on the upper body, and below from the waist down, there's much more of a fuller body, right? When I say fuller, there's a vitality there versus her top half. And there's a vitality that emanates from her whole body, like her skin, her face, her smile. And these are tempting. This is the temptation. This is the charm, right? So it's all of her energies on the external. So for her, there's a real challenge here to bring all this energy, this vitality that's on the external, into her body and into her pelvis. So for a lot of hysterical females, the pattern is their pelvis is really tight. So they're not able to move with a level of freedom that you'd expect from somebody else who doesn't have this injury. So like psoas massage, sexology work, vaginal mapping, what else would there be that would really help? Dancing freely. So the hysterical female is a subset of the rigid character. So being able to dance offbeat would be a challenge and would give them some freedom. Being able to act authentically by forcing in the other direction, by dancing in the opposite of the beat. So I'm sure she's an incredible dancer. And in that, I would recommend for her, if I was treating her, would be if she wanted to be cured of all this, because for a hysteric to go into this heartbreak, into this freezing of development where this injury is caused, she needs to grieve. And when I say grieve, she needs to grieve decades of pain, where at the start of all of her relationships, there would have been a yellow flag that this man isn't for her. And already attempting to construct a backdoor plan, a way to get out of the relationship. So not really being able to be committed to the relationship. And then, if I look at her and Kanye's relationship, she was overlapping partners. So she was still married to one guy and then she was dating Kanye. It's not even having a moment to be by herself, right? So either strategically choosing Kanye because she had something else in the background, or unable to be by herself, or loneliness or whatever, right? She also describes herself as a Christian and really religious, and that could just be yet another business strategy, right? I mean, if you were to compare the sex tape to this really religious, isn't that a bit of contradiction? Wouldn't you say that, you know what, that's kind of to the left of the Bible, right? A little bit on the over there. And what else shows up in her life? Like she mentioned in her pregnancies, was that she experienced preeclampsia. Preeclampsia. Now, sure, you can look at this end of the way, and science might give you one reason, and I'm going to give you another one. When women who have hysterical female in their defense structure, they do have a lot of vaginal issues because it's disconnected from who they are. Sex is a tool for leverage, not something that they're really connected to. And in that, her later pregnancy, she wasn't able to, the doctors advised her to not get pregnant again. And her third and fourth kids were born via surrogacy. And I'm reading from the wiki here. And the other illness that she has here, psoriasis, is an autoimmune illness. And psoriasis is hatred towards the self. There's something about the external part of you that feels you're inferior. There's something about you that's inherently wrong. In the context of characterology, that would show up as like, why don't people believe me? Why can't people see my greatness? You know, so trying to overcompensate with sexuality, overcompensate with, like, she's worth a lot, right? And then trying to do all these other things, like activism, trying to appear worthy. Is someone going to take me seriously? But her past, right? Her past of that sex tape, like whatever she uses leverage, like tarnishes a lot of her seriousness, right? The reality TV and the being with Kanye, and Kanye being the left field guy that he is. Like, how could she see Kanye as someone who's sensible, a sensible man who can be a father? Like, seriously. Like, and you might internally be saying, what were you thinking, right? And in that, what were you thinking? How can you take me seriously? How can you take her seriously, right? She's done a lot of activism work, like prison reform, clemency, and so she fights for what she believes in, which is admirable, right? She fights for what she believes in. And some of the awards that she's won here, so you've got Female Reality Variety Star, Female Hottie, Choice Twit, Female Hottie again, nominated. So in the context of her fame, it's all like reality stuff. Here we go, Golden Raspberry. Worst Supporting Actress, Golden Raspberries. Like, so she's People's Choice Awards, Favorite TV Celebrity Reality Star, nominated, Glamour Award, Influencer Award. So in those awards, like straight away, and sure, you could be saying, John, you're just being biased. Well, okay, in the context of this, I'm using characterology as a frame, is that, yeah, is she taken seriously? Like occupations here, media personality, socialite, businesswoman, model, actress, all those things don't really fit together, right? We try and make them work, but some people will take her seriously and some people won't. And in all of this, like, I'm not interviewing her. I'm not taking her through her life, right? This is information that I've found that's readily available on the internet, which you could look up yourself as well. So What else shows up here? Sex is for validation of attractiveness and prowess. So sex is just for prowess and secondary for pleasure. And that's her life. That's her life. And as she gets older, this might shift. However, from what I see right now is that she's on the Kim train. She's on the hysterical female trend of keep on doing what she's doing because it wins for her. She feels like she's winning right now. And who knows, maybe she dates again and gets married again. But at the core of it, in order for her to face who she really is, she really needs to be present to the emptiness that she feels inside of her. And that she can have more if she wants it. But there might be weakness that she can see in being soft, in being able to open her heart to men. What it looks like from her whole life that men have just used her, right? And she feels abandoned. She feels that men don't take her seriously and she's not appreciated, right? Like a lot of women are, like a lot of beautiful women are. They feel unappreciated. So they can only really find expression, output for all of this rage would be in drama. You know, or maybe she drinks. Actually, I don't know if she drinks. I'm going to find that out now. Kim Kardashian drink. She doesn't drink alcohol. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, she's drinking alcohol and coffee. So back in 2016, she wasn't. Started to drink a little bit at the age of 42, coffee and alcohol. I feel like I just got to get loose a little bit, okay? Because why not, you know? So in this, the pressure is kicking in, right? And the older you get, the more pressure that you feel on all of your instinct injuries. And her main crux, her primary longing, like this part of her that she's not looking for, is surrendering into intimacy, surrendering into love. And she will hold back. And so all of her, I'd assert that a lot of her back is really tight. And in that, she holds back, doesn't want to upset people, doesn't want to confess her attraction to people. And she's hugely sexually charged. And what she's concerned about here, the part of her that she's also denying is really owning this kink of that she can only be loved if she's attractive and desired. It's a crux. So I love, like, if she could kink it out. For those of you that aren't familiar with existential kink, check it out. It's a very easy way to entry level to your lower self. And I do preface it's entry level. Entry level is existential kink. Then if she really wanted to go there, I'd recommend her to say, I love just being used for my body. I love being seen as like this empty vessel. I love being disregarded. I love being taken advantage of. I love being ignored. I love it when my partners don't appreciate me. I love keeping my heart closed. I love having sex to feel validated. So all of these things tie into the hysterical female. And Kim is a perfect example of hysterical females. Other examples are Gwyneth Paltrow. She's a little bit more schizoidal, but still. Jennifer Aniston, another hysterical rigid. Who else? Scarlett Johansson, Demi Moore. Who else? Who's on the tip of my tongue? Who did Mask? Mask. What is her name, John? Come on, bruh. Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz is also a hysterical rigid. So Hollywood's full of hysterical rigids. Full of them. Why? Because there's this distortion of youth and maturity. Sexual maturity with youth. Hollywood to a T, right? Enticing men with underage energetics at the top, and then with the sexual proclivities and the maturity on the bottom. And it's an injury of our time for a lot of women. And these women will also sacrifice their wants to have a child, or they'll choose a man to have a child with, purely because this biological urge is kicking in. But then the partner that they choose, they're not really either sexually attracted to or love. So there can be this this is a heart pelvic split where they're fragmented sexually from their heart. So they might need substances in order to have sex with their partner, or to bridge this gap, to make them feel like, oh, this is everything that I've really wanted, right? So the last thing I'll say here is the partners tend to be chosen as a checklist. So who she will approach to be in a relationship with, he needs to have this checklist, the social, what is it, where's my next social ladder going to go?